Liss. The name of the program is The Way to Go. I invite you to join me each week at this time as we explore places to go and things to do. I'm going to start by telling you a story. About a year and a half ago, I was up in Boston, and my son, who lives in the area, said, "You've got to go over to the MIT Museum. There's an exhibit of a sculpture like nothing you've ever seen before." So I went over there, and they were putting together this exhibit. And there were a couple of men working there, an electrician putting things together, and another man, and I was fascinated by them. I knew why my son had said, "You can't miss this, it's a great place to go." Well, it turned out that the electrician was the sculptor himself, Arthur Ganson. And Arthur Ganson is my guest today because an exhibit of his work is now in New York. It's an opportunity, and I'm going to tell you right from the beginning, and you'll know why before this program is over. You've got to go see it. It's like nothing you have ever seen before. I'll tell you the gallery that it's at. It's going to be there throughout the month of June. And Arthur, this is the fulfillment of a promise I made to you when I learned you weren't the electrician.
Yes.
And said, if you ever come to New York, I certainly want to have you on the program, and here you are.
Here I am.
It's impossible to bring your sculpture here because it's so large, and we have a video.
Or small and very fragile.
Right. And so we have a video which we're going to show, and people will be able to get an idea, and they will be fascinated. But before we go into seeing what you do, how do you classify it? I've heard the term kinetic sculpture. What do you do?
Well, I would call the objects that I make kinetic sculpture. This because they are functional machines. They function in all the ways that machines function, but there's absolutely no utilitarian value other than really to look at. So I think we call things that we look at and contemplate art and sculpture.
They do amazing things, and
yeah, they all do. They all do things. They all do something
out of your fertile brain. We'll get in maybe inside your fertile brain before this program.
Yes, I can take it. Open up my head.
Open up your head and dissect it. I've heard you referred to them as the aesthetics of motion because there's motion involved with everything you do, isn't there?
Right.
Do you start with that? Do you say?
Well, okay. All of the pieces, for me, they tend to start, now nothing that I will say is a rule, okay, because there are always contradictions.
And there are no rules.
There are no rules, but they tend to start as a sense of a gesture, some idea, sometimes specific, sometimes very broad, but it usually has to do with a gesture of some sort, which is about movement. It's about an object and the interpretation of that object in movement and what it may say. So it's really about gesture.
But a machine making the gesture.
Yes, yeah.
Well, I think we've talked about it. I think people have to see it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run this video. This is run at the Rico Maresca Gallery, 529 West 20th Street. We'll repeat that, where this exhibit will be on through the month of June. But people will have to see. So this video shows you talking about some of your work, and I think after people will see it, that they'll understand exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. So now let's just go to that videotape and look at it.
Great. I am Arthur Ganson. I basically make machines because I have to, because I love to. Making machines, for me, is in this assimilation of all the things I love to do. It's about mechanical design, it's about invention, it's about discovery, it's about being playful, it's about exploring aesthetic ideas and infusing them into the device. So it's not at all like just engineering dry mechanical parts. the reason for the engineering is an aesthetic. In one sense, they don't have a utilitarian purpose in the way we normally think of machines. Because they are real functioning machines, engineered to express very specific ideas, then they do have that purpose. For example, the machine that drops the fabric slowly on the table to illuminate the liquid quality of fabric. I could argue that that is its utilitarian purpose, that a machine is a perfect thing to use to do that task if you want to show somebody how fabric can be like liquid. So I'm going to stretch the whole notion of utilitarianism, and I'm going to make machines that perform these functions, but they're aesthetic reasons for being. Part of their purpose is to be ambiguous. Yeah, purposely ambiguous. I try to make the machines so that they say enough, so there is something clearly stated, but that it's not fully said, and there is an ambiguous aspect to it. I feel that for a piece of art to have meaning for somebody, they have to complete it. They have to find their own meaning with it. I can't tell them what it means to them. And I think that everybody comes to everything in their own way, with their own bag, their own world of experience. And people will find very different messages, find different things in them. So the most successful pieces are able to bridge that. They go exactly halfway. I call that one machine with concrete. And one reason why I tend to give these machines titles that are really bland, like machine with this, because I don't want to give away in the title what I think it should be about. I start with a pretty abstract sense or idea of what the machine is about. There's a lot of work that happens in my mind before anything even hits the paper. So the first step in the process is that I'm imagining what the machine is. I've never built a machine, ever, that I had the whole thing understood and then just built it. There's always development and change. Sometimes it's a minor change, sometimes it's a complete conceptual change. Some pieces come from just insignificant moments of play, like the walking wishbone. I finished dinner and I'm playing with the wishbone at the table, and I'm thinking, oh man, this looks like a cowboy who's been on his horse for too long. So that's what I did. We enter the piece through the wishbone because it's bone and it's animal, and we're animals, so that's the sort of access through that. But I wasn't thinking about the meaning of it in any deep way, really. I have to say, when I made that piece, that piece particularly was just playful. This I called Child Watching Ball. I was playing with the idea of making a machine that would have two parts to it, where they would relate to each other in a visual, playful way. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have this dancing ball doing its thing, and I carved a little child's head. I had that mechanically linked so that the child was always watching the ball. Well, when I first moved to Boston, somebody sent over these two guys who were starting an organization called the World Sculpture Racing Society. Their whole premise was that they wanted to have an organization where artists would make sculptures to be raced on the street for two primary reasons: to take it out of the context of museums and galleries, put it on the street where the common man can experience art, and also to create an event where machines would be judged by first, second, or third. The fastest sculpture wins. So that's the sort of general context of sculpture racing. And I just got excited about the idea of making a writing machine that would be powered by pushing it forward. And the faster I would run, the faster it would write. Faster!
Well, it's just...
Hey, Chris, did you...
Yeah.
This is a time-lapse piece of the installation in the DeCordova Museum in Lincoln, Mass. We are installing the piece at the museum. I had the desire to create a whole evening of just machine theater where people would come into the theater, sit down, and the curtain would open and they would be entertained by just machines. The initial thought was the curtain opens, in the middle of the stage is the chair, and then the machine begins to slowly come from, say, stage left, pick up the chair, put it down once, and then leave. So it becomes a very, very simple dance gesture. I made this in my basement. The chair goes up 13 feet. I couldn't put it together in my basement. This is before I had a studio. And it was total madness. Every machine that I've built, I've learned a lot about how to solve certain problems, what to do, what not to do. The knife throwing machine was one of the mechanical characters on stage in a play that I did. Halfway through the play, the machine would suddenly come to life. And then it would cock its arm. Hurls the knife and lands dead in the wall right in the center of a $100 bill. You know, art is an abstract language that we make up, so I'm making up this whole syntax and I'm trying to say things which are somewhat ambiguous. So the only way that I can learn how effectively I'm speaking is by listening to the response when I put something out there. The truth is not one person's interpretation, but sort of everybody's experience of it and how it then reflects back to me.
Go. Red. Now I think you understand a little bit of what we're talking about. The Arthur Ganson, sculptor extraordinary, working in the kinetic, mechanical, humorous, unbelievable. And so, Arthur, the exhibit now is at Rico Maresca Gallery,
Yes.
529 West 20th Street. And for people who want more information about the hour, certainly it's running through the end of June. 212-627-4819, and we're going to put that up on the closing credits as well so that people can call. And as I said before, people have to see your work, not once, more than once.
And also, I would love it if people would bring their kids too, because I find that children connect with the work. It's not just for adults. It's not work that's meant to be for art types. I mean, it's all about.
I did see when I was there at the opening, I did see that there were lots of children there, and they were having a great time, having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Okay, now comes the key question.
What's that?
What's the process? How does it all start? Do you sketch it out? What inspires you? Nothing like this exists. Nobody else is doing what you're doing. Where does it come from?
Well, okay, for me, it's really hard to pin it down, but I never know when I'm going to have an idea. I can't force the ideas. I can't give myself an assignment. Okay, come up with an idea about this subject or this idea. It really comes out of life and out of sort of playing in the world. Sometimes one piece will come out of another piece, because I'll be making something and that'll trigger thoughts about, well, I could do a related thing that would be sort of like this and that would go in a different direction. I don't know where they come from, but the process is one of having an infinite number of possibilities and slowly trying to bring them in, because I'm starting with something which is purely conceptual. It's in my mind. It doesn't exist in any way other than my thoughts. Now, I can think of many things, and I do all the time. I can imagine actions which do not follow the laws of physics. So part of the problem I have is, okay, I have my idea. It is the absolute, pure essence of what I want to get to. Now, how am I going to manifest this into materials?
So you start with not the mechanics of it. You start with.
I start with the idea. I start with the sense of the gesture of the idea, and then I begin to sort of like beat around that. Walk around, slowly find my way in until I decide, okay, this is a piece that is made of fragile wire, or this is a piece that's made of heavier machine parts. This piece really should be hand crank operated in order to express the idea, because maybe I want the intimacy with the viewer turning the crank.
You don't hide the mechanics. I noticed one place there's a relationship with Penn and Teller who show how the tricks are done.
Yes.
You reveal how they're done. It's not hidden behind there. It's not just the effect. It's the process that does it, and how it's happening. The turning of the gears and the tripping of whatever is all things that people should see.
Well, yeah, the machine itself is integrated in with the idea of why the machine exists. So generally the machine is not there to serve some other function, but all of the components of the machine are really about the idea. So the way I will build something is very much integrated with its reason for being.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's generally very important, or that's why I like to show the mechanics. There are cases where there are aspects of the machine which are not important. Corey's yellow chair.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain parts of that machine which you see, and then there are certain parts which I decided that it's not important to see these, partly because visually it's not going to work. You see, I'm also working visually. Every decision to use a material or to design something a certain way, there's a mechanical function and there's a visual spatial function. And everything sort of exists in both camps at the same time.
But they're engineered, but you're not an engineer, and you have no engineering training.
Well, I don't have engineering training, but am I an engineer? Yes.
Sure.
I mean, I am an engineer, but I'm not trained.
It's interesting that your artist in residence at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology are working with the students on some projects, inspiring them to think, I suppose, is what it's all about.
Yeah.
But you're an artist. I mean, basically, you're an artist who's working in a certain medium.
Right.
I noticed in the video, and I'm sure people remember that some of the things are huge, and some of them are so tiny. Do you have any preferences? What determines whether it's going to be room size or tabletop size?
I tend to like to work small because that way I can start a piece and complete it maybe in 1-2 weeks, as opposed to, I mean, large machines, they could take like a whole year to do. And I've done some large commissions. So the process of doing a large commission, a lot of it is negotiating, sending drawings out.
The business end of...
There's so much involved with that I tend to find not that interesting. And right now I'm a one-person operation.
Not like the sculptors of old who've made a small model and then...
I don't want to work that way because I love the engineering of it. I mean, for me, that's part of the process. It's, I have the idea, but I love the exploration and the carrying out of the idea. And it's also really important to me because I have a sense of where I want to go. And as I'm engineering it, I realize, well, I need to make certain kinds of changes. And it's really important that I be there. I can't give the plans to some other engineer and have them make this thing because there could be some very critical, very subtle, critical things.
Do you draw plans, actually?
Depends upon what the piece is. Every machine, for the most part, is sketched in pencil. They'll be, and the sketches are. I have my own way of indicating motions, mechanical components, which is really like a sort of a hieroglyphics or a shorthand for. Okay, I'll sketch how I want to solve certain mechanisms or what sorts of things I need to do. Rarely will I actually sketch in a way where I'm rendering, where I'm not, where I'm drawing what parts will look like. I'll generally draw the machine in a way where I have a sense of where things will be in space, where there may be an intensity of activity, the direction of things. Some pieces, the few large ones that I've done, do require much more specific drawing, and they have to go to a point where things are drawn very accurately.
Do you make the parts, or do you buy stock parts for
everything? I make a lot of stuff. I do have sources where I buy gears and motors. For the most part, the structure of the machines all comes out of raw material. I'm not a found artist. I'm not a found object artist, where I tend to not work in a way where I'm finding pieces and sort of bringing them together. I have to construct it out of raw material, strips of steel. Okay.
But the chair is inspired by your son. There's one that we saw in the video of a doll's head. Was that a found item and that was put in there, or did you start with that and said?
Well, that piece, when I graduated from UNH in New Hampshire, University of New Hampshire, in 1978, I had a show. I had a piece which was a little porcelain doll's head that was watching a ball as it traveled. Okay, that was the
your
first piece.
inspiration.
Okay, and that was done many years ago. But on that piece, the little child's head, all it did was look up and down. And I wanted to remake that piece because the original one had fallen apart. So I re-engineered it and made a much more complicated mechanism that not only looked up and down, but then followed the ball as it went through its very complex motion.
Well, following the ball, we've discovered that we're pretty close to running out of time. I do want to make sure that we say that it's at the Rico Maresca Gallery, 529 West 20th Street, and the telephone number to call is 212-627-4819. I'm talking today with a terrific, marvelous artist, Arthur Ganson, who has done wonderful work. Go see it. It's very worthwhile. Go see it more than once. I'm Norman Liss. The name of this program is The Way to Go. And until next week at the same time, enjoy yourself.